Hello dear students, welcome all of you to my class. We are doing the chapter 3 Rural Life under British India from history. In previous video we have discussed about the new land revenue settlements and its impact, mainly the jamidari system or the permanent settlement system. In today's video we are going to discuss about the rest of two land revenue settlements and commercializations of agriculture, indigo and opium, exploitation for the peasantry, revolts by the peasants and jamidars. Our today's first topic is Rautari settlement. So Rautari system of land revenue was introduced in the Madras Presidency by Thomas Munro. This settlement was made directly with the actual cultivators or ryots. The British hoped that this settlement would bring relief to the ryots, as they would have to direct relationship with the government and there would be no middleman. तो गवर्नमेंट और कल्टिवेटर के बीच कोई मिडिलमैन नहीं रहता, ऐसा सेटलमेंट बनाया था कौन? थॉमस मुनरो ने. तो इसका इम्पैक्ट क्या था? इवन थ्रू द रायोट्स हैड टू पे लैंड रेवेन्यू डायरेक्टली टू द ब्रिटिश, दे वर एक्सप्लॉयटेड. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि वो अगर डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप पे है विथ द गवर्नमेंट तो ऐसा नहीं है कि इन बिटवीन उसका एक्सप्लॉयटेशन नहीं हो रहा था. ओके, the British fixed the land revenue at a high rate and the riots were often forced to take loans from the moneylenders who cheated them and often took away their land. तो जो रेवेन्यू था, लैंड रेवेन्यू था, वो उसका जो रेट था वो बहुत ही हाई था. तो रायट्स वर ऑफन फोर्स टू टेक लोन्स फ्रॉम द मनी लेंडर्स. तो इसके कारण वो जो मनी लेंडर है उनसे वो लोन लेता था. तो अगर वो लोन रिटर्न नहीं कर पाता था तो ऑब्वियसली उसका लैंड किसको देना पड़ता था? ब्रिटिशर को. Unable to pay the land revenue, many peasants fled to the countryside and villages become deserted. In many regions, the British expected that the new system would transform the peasants into enterprising farmers, but this did not happen. Next land revenue system is called as Mahalwari system. Mahalwari system was introduced in Punjab, parts of Uttar Pradesh and central India. The revenue settlement was made for the entire mahal or estate or village, and this settlement was introduced by a British officer named Holt Mackenzie. Okay, so this settlement, this land revenue system, the village belonged to the village community which was jointly responsible for the payment of land revenue. ओके तो बहुत सारे जो छोटे छोटे विलेज है एक साथ बोला जाता था महल. द एस्टिमेटेड रेवेन्यू ऑफ ईच प्लॉट ऑफ लैंड विद इन द विलेज वॉज एडेड अप टू कैलकुलेट द रेवेन्यू दैट ईच विलेज हैड टू पे. तो अगर आप सोच लो एक विलेज है उस पर बहुत सारे प्लॉट है या लैंड है, उसका जो लैंड रेवेन्यू मिलता था उसको टोटल करके लैंड रेवेन्यू पे किया जाता था. तो एक एक विलेज को बोला जाता था महल. This demand was revised periodically. The responsibility of collecting the land revenue and paying it to the company was given to the village headman. तो इसका responsibility कौन लिया था? Village headman ने. So through this system, the British tried to preserve the villages as an important social institution of North India. Impact क्या था? In this arrangement, the big and powerful zamindars dominated and exploited the small and poor peasants. Many small farmers were deprived of ownership of their land by the rich landlords or moneylenders of the villages. The system too, there was a concentration of land and authority in the hands of a few rich landlords. तो इस सिस्टम पे भी एक ही जो ट्रेडिशन था वही हो रहा था, मतलब एक्सप्लॉयटेशन ऑफ स्मॉल फार्मर्स. ओके, तो मनी लेंडर्स जो थे वो उसका जो पावरफुल जो अथॉरिटी है वो बढ़ गया था. ओके, एंड द फार्मर्स का जो स्टेटस और द सीनरियो था वो डे बाय डे डिटोरेट हो रहा था. सो इम्पैक्ट ऑफ ब्रिटिश रूल अपॉन लैंड रेवेन्यू, तो ये क्या था? फुल्ली अगर बोला जाए यह एक नेगेटिव इफ़ेक्ट था. क्या क्या हुआ था? कमर्शलाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर, famines and revolt. Okay, so now we are going to discuss all these three one by one. The British not only changed the existing land revenue system of the country but also changed the nature and pattern of production. Earlier, the village production was meant to fulfill village needs, but the British replaced it by the needs of the market. Under this system, agriculture is governed by commercial considerations, that is, certain specialized crops began to be grown not for consumption in the village but for sale in the market. तो पहले इंडिया पे जो एग्रीकल्चर था उसका नेचर क्या था? Only for the family consumption. So the British started growing crops that were required in Europe. The Britishers pressurized Indian farmers to produce cash crops like indigo, cotton, raw silk, opium, pepper, tea and sugar. So this kind of brutal and exploitative phase of British can be explained better by the incident when the Chinese tried to stop the illegal opium trade by the British, and the Britishers declared a war against them, and this war were called as Opium Wars. Okay, so cultivation of opium. The British bought tea from China and had to pay for it in the silver because the Chinese were self-sufficient and did not want Western goods. But soon they came up with a very cunning and corrupt plan of producing opium in India, and they smuggling it into China. The British did not hesitate in taking up this completely illegal trade as it supported them in financing their tea trade. Indigo is a natural dye and used by cloth manufacturer to dye clothes. So the color produced by indigo is rich and bright, whereas the color of other dyes is pale and dull. Indigo is preferred by dyers. By the end of 18th century, the demand for Indian indigo grew in Britain, whereas its production in other parts of the world fell significantly. तो इंडिया पे जो इंडिगो का जो कल्टिवेशन हो रहा था ऑन दैट टाइम ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा हो रहा था, बट वही ऑन दैट टाइम ऑल्सो द अदर पार्ट्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड पे जो इंडिगो का जो कल्टिवेशन हो रहा था उसका रेट डे बाय डे कम हो रहा था. Okay, the climate of England was also not suitable for growing indigo, so it's imported indigo from other places, particularly the West Indies and North America. तो ब्रिटेन का सुइटेबल जो क्लाइमेट था वो एकदम ही सुइटेबल नहीं था इंडिगो कल्टिवेशन के लिए. ओके, सो दैट्स वाई ये जो ब्रिटेन जो नॉर्थ अमेरिका एंड वेस्ट इंडीज़ से इंडिगो को इम्पोर्ट करके लेके आ रहा था. So the collapse of the indigo plantation in this region during the late 18th century forced Britain to look for supplies from other areas. The European planters began to invest in indigo production. They pressurized the farmers to sign contracts and produce indigo. The farmers who signed contracts got loans, which made it compulsory for them to cultivate indigo on at least 25% of their land holdings. But in reality, these peasants were brutally exploited. They got a very low price for the indigo, and the cycle of loans never ended. So the farmers were forced by the planters otherwise to produce indigo on their most fertile land, in which the peasants otherwise preferred to cultivate rice. But indigo production ruined the fertility of the soil, so it was a double loss for the peasants. तो एक बहुत ही टैक्टिस और द कर्निंग पॉलिसी लिया था यूरोपियन प्लांटर्स ने. वो लोग एक कंट्रैक्ट करके जो कल्टिवेटर्स है जो फार्मर्स है उससे साइन करा लिए थे एक कंट्रैक्ट. इसमें क्या बोला गया था? इसमें बोला गया था कि 25% ऑफ देयर लैंड होल्डिंग्स जो लैंड है वो उस पर वो इंडिगो कल्टिवेशन करेंगे. तो पीजेंट्स जो है वो ब्रूचली एक्सप्लॉयटेड हो रहा था. वो उसके लिए इंडिगो प्लांटेशन के लिए या कल्टिवेशन के लिए बहुत ही कम पैसा उनको मिल रहा था. बट फार्मर्स वर फोर्स्ड बाय द प्लांटर्स. वाई? बिकॉज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे था कि अगर आप ये नहीं करोगे तो आपका जो मोस्ट सुइटेबल कल्टिवेबल जो लैंड है, फर्टाइल लैंड है जो राइस या व्हीट के लिए, वो इंडिगो प्लांटेशन में दे देंगे। तो इसके लिए आप बोला जाए तो ये डबल लॉस था कल्टिवेटर के लिए और द फार्मर्स के लिए। सो द कमर्शलाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर का इम्पैक्ट क्या था? ये टोटली नेगेटिव इफेक्ट था, because commercialization of Indian agriculture benefited British industries and British traders obviously, but these benefits did not reach the Indian farmers. They were brutally exploited. The poor Indian farmers were not only exploited by Britishers, they also exploited by money lenders. Okay, so peasants were overburdened with a high land revenue. They were forced to borrow money at a high rate of interest from the money lenders who cheated them in various ways. ब्रिटिश रूल का अनदर नेगेटिव इफेक्ट था फमीन्स। तो इसके लिए बहुत सारे कॉजेज़ एक साथ काम किया था, जस्ट लाइक ड्रॉट, फ्लड, क्रॉप डिजीज़। इसके साथ ऐड हुआ था हेवी टैक्सेशन, एक्सप्लॉयटेटिव लैंड रेवेन्यू पॉलिसीज़, ब्रूटल ट्रीटमेंट बाय लैंडलॉर्ड्स। तो इन बिटवीन 1876 to 78, 8 lakh people lost their lives in Madras, Hyderabad, Maharashtra, Western UP and Punjab. In the famines of 1896 to 97, nearly 45 lakhs died. 3 million people died in Bengal famine of 1943. These famines and the high losses of life indicated the extent of poverty and starvation which had taken root in India. The British rule का another negative impact था peasants revolt. The Mopla peasants of Kerala, the Jats and the Satnamis rebelled against the high land revenue, rigid collection of taxation and the unfavorable conditions forced the peasantry to revolt at many places. So we know that the Britishers forced the small farmers to cultivate indigo. तो इसका इम्पैक्ट क्या हुआ था? इंडिगो रेविलियन एंड इंडिगो कमीशन. Indigo revolt was the result of growing disinterest among the peasants, even local jamindars and village headmans, because they all were subjected to exploitation. This revolts in Bengal 1857 forced the government to set up the Indigo Commission to inquire into the issue. The commission held the indigo planters guilty and relieved the peasants from growing indigo. The indigo planters shifted to Champaran in Bihar. Mahatma Gandhi fought for them and used his tool for Satyagraha for the first time in India against the exploitation of indigo planters. We will discuss Gandhiji's Satyagraha policy in class 8 history only. Okay, and also you will discuss in class 10 history. Okay, so no need to worry about it. So that's enough for today's class, my dear students. You will meet in our next class with a new topics. Till now, bye, take care and happy learning.